Welcome, guys, to another motivational video of Princeton's English channel. At first, please make sure to subscribe my channel. So, guys, today's video is about how to learn English at home. Our today's video title is How to Master English at Alone. So, guys, let's start today's video. Chapter 1, The Silent Dreamer. In a small town far away from big cities and bright opportunities, there lived a young man named Raheem. He wasn't poor, but he wasn't privileged either. He lived in a simple house with an even simpler dream: to one day speak English fluently. To many people, that dream sounded small, but to Raheem, it felt enormous, almost impossible. In his neighborhood, no one spoke English. The signs were in his local language. Even his school teachers preferred teaching in the mother tongue. Whenever Raheem heard someone speaking English, maybe on TV or the internet, he would stop and listen, amazed. He didn't understand much, but there was something magical about the rhythm of those words, something powerful about being able to express yourself in a language spoken by millions across the world. And so, deep inside his heart, Raheem made a silent promise. One day, I will speak English confidently, even if I have to do it alone. He didn't tell anyone, because he knew if he did, people would laugh. They would say things like, "You learn English without a teacher? You can't do it. It's too hard." So he kept his dream hidden, like a tiny flame in his heart, safe from the wind of other people's opinions. Chapter 2, The First Step. Raheem didn't know where to start. There was no coaching center nearby, no friend to practice with, and no fancy computer. All he had was an old smartphone and an internet connection that worked only half the time. But he remembered a quote he once read: "When you don't have resources, become resourceful." That became his mindset. Every night after dinner, when everyone else went to sleep, Raheem stayed awake. He opened YouTube and searched for how to learn English at home. He found videos of people speaking fluently, people who once struggled just like him. He began copying them. At first, he felt ridiculous, talking to a phone screen, repeating words he didn't fully understand. But slowly, something inside him started to change. He realized that English was not a subject. It was a skill. And like any skill, it could be built, one word at a time. So he began his routine. Morning, 10 new words from a dictionary app. Afternoon, 15 minutes of listening to English podcasts. Evening, watching English movies with subtitles. Night, standing before the mirror and speaking for 5 minutes. At first, his pronunciation was awkward. His grammar was shaky. He often forgot words mid-sentence. But he didn't quit. He told himself every day, "I am not competing with anyone. I am only competing with who I was yesterday." And that became his greatest strength. Chapter 3, The Struggle Within. Months passed. Raheem's confidence began to grow, but so did his frustration. There were days he felt unstoppable, and there were days he felt worthless. Days when he recorded his voice and deleted it in shame. Days when his tongue refused to cooperate, twisting around unfamiliar sounds. He often thought, maybe I'm just not made for English. But then he remembered why he started. It wasn't about showing off. It wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about unlocking a world bigger than his small town. It was about breaking limits, the kind that live inside the mind. One night, as rain poured outside, Raheem sat by his window and whispered to himself, "If I stop now, this dream dies here. But if I keep going, maybe someday this voice will inspire someone else." So he wiped his tears, opened his notebook, and began again. He wrote simple sentences like, I wake up early in the morning. I drink tea. I study English." They were small, simple lines, but they were his, and every page filled him with quiet pride. Chapter 4, The Power of the Mirror. Raheem's favorite time to practice was early morning, when the world was silent. He would stand in front of his mirror, look into his own eyes, and start speaking. "Good morning, Raheem. Today you will learn something new. You will speak better than yesterday. At first he stuttered, then he smiled, then he began to enjoy it. He realized something beautiful. He didn't need another person to practice. His reflection was enough. He practiced greetings, introductions, daily conversations. He would pretend to talk to a stranger. "Hello, how are you today?" "I'm doing well, thank you. And you?" Soon his hesitation started to fade. He began thinking in English, slowly, naturally. He noticed that English wasn't just about grammar or accent. It was about confidence. It was about being unafraid to make mistakes, because mistakes weren't signs of failure. They were signs of effort. And that realization changed everything. Chapter 5. The Turning Point. One evening, Raheem joined a free online English group on social media. At first, he was terrified. Everyone there seemed better, speaking faster, using fancy words. He stayed silent for the first few days, just observing. But one night when someone asked, "Who wants to introduce themselves?" Raheem took a deep breath and said, "Hello, everyone. My name is Raheem. I am from Bangladesh. I am learning English alone. It is not easy, but I am trying my best every day." The group went quiet for a moment. Then people started clapping in the chat. Messages popped up. "Great job, Raheem. Your pronunciation is good. Keep going, brother." Tears filled his eyes. For the first time, he wasn't just learning English. He was connecting with people from different countries, different lives, but one shared goal. That night, Raheem realized something powerful. Language is not just about words, it's about connection, and that connection gave him wings. Chapter 6. When Motivation Fades. Not every day was bright. Some mornings Raheem woke up and felt nothing. No excitement, no motivation, no fire inside. He would open his notebook, stare at the words he wrote, and feel tired, tired of trying. He asked himself, "Why am I doing this? No one even cares." Wonkin wasn't wrong. No one was watching. No one was cheering him on. He was alone, truly alone, but then something inside whispered, "You didn't start this for others. You started this for yourself." That voice, small but powerful, kept him moving. He learned that motivation doesn't last forever, but discipline does. So even on days he didn't feel like learning, he still opened his app. Even when tired, he watched at least one English video. Even when his pronunciation sounded wrong, he practiced anyway. Because he understood, you don't have to feel ready to take the next step. You just have to take it. Chapter 7. The Magic of Listening. As Raheem improved, he discovered a secret, the power of listening. He realized that language is music. You can't speak it well unless you listen to its rhythm. So he began listening to English every day, podcasts, audiobooks, even songs. He didn't worry about understanding everything. He just listened, again and again. At first, the words sounded blurry, but after a few weeks he began to catch patterns. He noticed how native speakers connected words, how they stressed emotions, how their tone changed meaning. He started repeating after them, imitating, shadowing. He'd pause a podcast and repeat the same line until he sounded close enough. Sometimes he'd laugh at himself because his accent was still heavy, but he didn't care anymore. He wasn't chasing perfection. He was chasing progress. And that small change in mindset turned frustration into freedom. Chapter 8. A New Kind of Classroom. One afternoon, Raheem went for a walk through the fields. As he watched the clouds drift by, an idea struck him. Maybe I don't need to sit with books all day to learn. From that day, everything became his classroom. When he cooked, he'd name every ingredient in English. When he looked around, he'd describe what he saw. The sky is blue, the wind is strong, the birds are flying. When he walked to the market, he'd imagine conversations in English. When he read signs, he'd translate them in his head. Every small moment became a chance to practice, English stopped being a subject. It became part of his life. And that's when real learning began. Chapter 9, The Mirror of Confidence. Raheem's old mirror, the one in his small room, had become his best friend. Every day he would stand before it and speak for 10 minutes. He would tell stories, describe his day, express his thoughts. At first, he spoke slowly, then faster, then naturally. He didn't memorize, he improvised. He let words flow even if they weren't perfect. And over time, that mirror stopped showing fear. It showed confidence. He realized something powerful. You don't learn confidence from others' words. You build it within yourself, word by word, sentence by sentence. That mirror practice built his self-trust. It trained his mind to stay calm even when speaking with others. One day during a family gathering, a cousin asked him to say something in English. Usually Raheem would feel nervous, but this time he smiled and spoke naturally, like he was talking to his mirror. Everyone went silent. Then someone said, "Wow, Raheem, when did you learn all this?" Raheem laughed softly, little by little, every day. No one knew how many lonely nights stood behind that moment. No one knew how many times he almost gave up. But inside, Raheem knew he had earned every word. Chapter 10, The Internet as a Teacher. Raheem's old smartphone became his university. He started exploring free online resources, websites, apps, forums, YouTube channels. He learned grammar from videos. He improved listening through English news. He practiced writing by commenting politely on online communities. He made mistakes, a lot of them. But with every correction, he grew. He realized that the internet wasn't just entertainment. It was education, waiting for those who seek it. He also started using an English journal app. Every night before sleeping, he wrote about his day in English. At first, his sentences were short and simple. Today, I studied English. I watched a movie. I learned new words. But gradually, his writing became deeper. Today, I felt nervous speaking in the group, but I did it anyway. I am proud of myself. His journal became a reflection of his growth, from broken words to full paragraphs, from fear to fluency. And with that, Raheem began to believe something he once doubted, that he could truly master English, even alone. Chapter 11, The Wall of Doubt. Every journey has a wall, a moment where progress feels invisible. Raheem had reached that wall. He had been learning for over a year. He had improved, yes, but he still couldn't understand fast speakers. He still froze when speaking with strangers online. And no matter how much effort he gave, he felt stuck. "Maybe this is my limit," he whispered one night. He looked at his reflection, the same mirror that once gave him courage, and felt defeated. He had worked so hard, yet he wasn't fluent. He wasn't perfect. For a few days, he stopped practicing. He stayed offline, ignored his learning apps, and avoided speaking English altogether. It felt peaceful for a moment, but also empty. Until one evening he saw a small boy trying to fly a kite. The wind kept breaking the string, but the boy kept tying it again and trying once more. Raheem smiled softly and said to himself, "Maybe life is testing how much I really want this." That night he opened his notebook again, and on the top of a blank page he wrote one line: "Fluency is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey." That single sentence reignited his flame. Chapter 12, Finding Rhythm. After his moment of doubt, Raheem decided to change his approach. He realized that repetition without enjoyment kills motivation. So he made learning fun again. He started watching English comedy shows. He laughed at jokes he barely understood, but each laugh carried a new word, a new sound. He began singing along to English songs. He even wrote his favorite quotes on sticky notes and placed them around his room, on his mirror, his desk, even his door. Quotes like, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Mistakes are proof that you're trying." Slowly, English became his companion again, not a burden. He also discovered that thinking in English made a huge difference. Instead of translating from his native language, he began forming thoughts directly in English. At first, it felt strange, but over time it became natural, like a new voice in his mind. Chapter 13, Speaking Without Fear. One day, while scrolling through his online group, Raheem saw a post. "Join our live speaking session tonight. Everyone is welcome." His heart raced. He had never spoken English live in front of people before. What if he made mistakes? What if others laughed? But deep down, a voice said, "You have practiced for this moment. You're ready." That night, his hands trembled as he joined the call. He listened to others first, confident voices from India, Nigeria, Egypt, and Brazil. When it was his turn, there was silence. He unmuted his mic. "Hello, everyone," he began softly. "My name is Raheem. I am learning English alone. I used to be very shy, but today I want to speak." He paused, his voice cracked slightly, but then the group encouraged him. "Go on, brother. You're doing great." And he continued. For 3 minutes, he spoke about his learning journey. His grammar wasn't perfect. His accent wasn't smooth, but his heart was full of courage. When he finished, the chat flooded with support. "Amazing. So inspiring. Keep it up." That night, Raheem realized courage is more important than perfection, because when you speak with courage, fluency follows. Chapter 14, The Reward of Consistency. Months turned into another year. Raheem didn't notice how much he had grown until one morning when he joined an international online event. The topic was learning languages for the future. He listened quietly, taking notes. Then suddenly a speaker invited audience members to share their experience. Raheem raised his hand. He didn't plan to. It just happened. When his turn came, he spoke confidently. "Hello, everyone. I am Raheem from Bangladesh. 2 years ago, I could not speak a single sentence in English. I learned everything from home, from videos, books, and self-practice. Today, I am not perfect, but I am proud of how far I have come." When he finished, people applauded. One of the hosts said, "Raheem, your story is the reason we do what we do. You're living proof that learning alone is possible with passion and persistence." Tears filled Raheem's eyes. All those lonely nights, all those hours of self-doubt finally meant something. It wasn't just about English anymore. It was about self-belief. Chapter 15, Beyond English. As Raheem continued his journey, something unexpected happened. Because of his improved English, he got new opportunities. He started freelancing online, writing short articles, helping others learn. He met people from around the world, people who once felt the same fear he used to feel. One day, a young girl from another country messaged him, "Sir, I saw your video about learning English alone. You inspired me to start too. Thank you." Raheem smiled deeply. He realized the boy who once practiced alone in front of a mirror was now inspiring others to do the same. His journey had come full circle. And now when people asked him, "What's the secret to mastering English alone?" he always replied, "There is no secret, just daily effort, patience, and belief. You don't need perfect English. You just need the courage to begin." Chapter 16, The Reflection. Years had passed. Raheem wasn't that shy, uncertain boy anymore. He had grown, not just in his English, but in the way he looked at life. He often sat on his rooftop in the early morning, watching the sun rise above the town where his dream was born. Sometimes he'd smile, remembering his first day, when he barely understood a single word. He remembered the frustration, the laughter, the tears, but more than anything, he remembered the feeling, the quiet belief that he could do it. Raheem realized that learning English alone was never just about the language. It was about becoming the kind of person who doesn't give up, no matter how hard it gets. He said to himself softly, English didn't just change my words, it changed my world. Chapter 17, Teaching Others. As Raheem grew fluent, he began helping others who were where he once was. He started a small YouTube channel called Learn English with Raheem. His videos weren't fancy. He recorded them with the same old phone he used to learn on. Sometimes the sound wasn't perfect, but his message was powerful because it was real. In his first video, he said, I learned English alone. If I can do it, so can you. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Thousands of people watched. Comments started flooding in from all over the world. Brother, your story gave me hope. I'm also learning alone. You made me believe I can do it. You're my inspiration. Raheem read each comment with gratitude. He had once been the learner searching for guidance. Now he had become the guide. Chapter 18, Lessons from the Journey. One evening, Raheem sat down to write about his experience. He wanted to share the lessons that truly changed his life, not from books or teachers, but from the hard, lonely days of self-learning. He wrote 7 truths, the pillars of how he mastered English alone. Start small, but start today. Waiting for the perfect time means waiting forever. Even learning one new word today is progress. Consistency beats motivation. You won't feel inspired every day, but if you show up daily, success will follow quietly. Your environment doesn't define you. You can live anywhere, with anyone. Your growth depends on your effort, not your location. Listen more than you speak. The more you listen, the more your brain absorbs the music of the language. Don't fear mistakes. Every mistake is a stepping stone to mastery. Think in English. Stop translating. Let English become a voice inside your mind. Believe in yourself, especially when no one else does. Because sometimes the only support you'll have is your own belief that it's possible. When Raheem finished writing, he smiled. Those weren't just lessons. They were memories, written in his own journey. Chapter 19, The Gift of Solitude. Raheem used to think learning alone was a curse, but over time he discovered it was a gift. Being alone taught him discipline. It taught him patience. It taught him how to learn without comparison. He realized that when you learn alone, you hear your inner voice more clearly. You learn what truly motivates you, not what others expect, but what you dream of becoming. He often said in his videos, don't be sad if you're learning English alone. Be proud, because you are proving that success doesn't need a crowd. It just needs commitment. Chapter 20, The Final Message. Raheem stood by his wandum one last evening, watching the sun set over the same small town where everything began. The streets hadn't changed. The peoples were still the same, but he was different. He wasn't afraid to dream anymore. He wasn't afraid to speak. He wasn't afraid to start alone. He whispered to himself, if I could talk to that boy I once was, I'd tell him, don't worry about being alone. One day your voice will reach the world. Then he smiled, closed his notebook, and turned off the light. Epilogue, The Voice for Others. Raheem's story is not just his own. It's the story of millions, students, workers, dreamers, who believe that their circumstances define them. But his life proves something greater. You don't need perfect surroundings. You don't need rich teachers. You don't even need to be confident at the start. All you need is belief. Belief that you can learn. Belief that effort compounds. Belief that one day your broken words will become beautiful sentences. So, you're listening to this and you're learning English alone. Remember Raheem's words. It's okay to start alone. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to make mistakes. What matters is that you don't stop. Keep practicing, keep listening, keep speaking, because one day your voice will tell your own story of how you too entered English alone. Dedicated to everyone who is learning alone, you are not alone. Here is the end of today's English learning motivational video. If you guys like this video, so please subscribe my channel. See you very soon with a new motivational video.